So, for anyone who may be brand new to the world of decodables, I will tell you a little bit about them. Last year, ReadWorks launched a series of decodable text to support phonics instruction across kindergarten and first grade. And we recently launched second grade decodables just last month. So, K to 2 decodables are now all available on the site. And if you're new to decodables, let me just share some, basic information about them. A decodable text is a text that is mostly decodable and based on the phonics instructions that students have received, explicit instruction around regularly and irregularly spelled high frequency words. Reading decodable text supports early readers by building their confidence as they become proficient and provides them with multiple opportunities with specific phonics patterns so words become orthographically mapped. Orthographic mapping is the cognitive process that we use to store and retrieve words by making connections to pronunciation and spelling and meaning, and it happens automatically and effortlessly. So now I'm going to talk, and one more thing, sorry. Typically, they're fiction. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the research behind the decodable texts. In the meantime, I would love for you, if you are teaching in elementary school, if you do have a phonics program, take a moment in the chat, tell us which phonics program you're using. As with all other ReadWorks products, decodables were developed with the most up-to-date research on building background knowledge and vocabulary. Here's a quote that I'd like to share with you from the Scientific Advisory Committee. We've all heard the adage that children first learn to read and then they read to learn. Yet decades of research show that this is a false dichotomy. From the very beginning, children can build knowledge of the natural and social world through read-alouds and build knowledge through texts that they are learning to read themselves. Teachers do not need to choose between instruction that builds knowledge and that which teaches literacy foundational skills. They can occur in tandem and complement each other across a rich literacy curriculum. I'm taking a look at the chat now. I see that folks are using Foundations, Just Words, Heggerty, UFly. Our decodables are also in the UFly decodable text guide. So that's pretty cool. All right, thank you so much for letting us know. I will continue. Before the launch of ReadWorks decodables, ReadWorks provided fiction decodables aligned to ReadWorks nonfiction articles and easily decodable step reads. And this was provided in partnership with Whole Phonics. On the left side of the screen, you'll see the Whole Phonics decodable texts that are on the website. And on the right side, you see an example of the nonfiction decodable from ReadWorks. So we have added our nonfiction decodable texts and they work in step with our article a day scope and sequence. So if you were here on Tuesday for the building knowledge webinar, then you're familiar with article a day and the topical scope and sequence. So ReadWorks decodables are especially unique because they're nonfiction. By reading these decodable texts, students are building background knowledge while applying alphabetic knowledge and decoding skills in the context of meaningful and continuous text. While the threshold of decodability varies for decodable texts, the majority of our decodables are at least 90% decodable. So that means at least 90% of the words can be decoded and will adhere to various phonics scope and sequences like foundations. ReadWorks decodables can be supplemented with the phonics curriculum that you are already using. They're paired with knowledge building article a day sets. That way, students are able to feel more confident because they're tackling a decodable text that's already topically connected to the articles that you have read to them or had them listen to. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the article a day routine. Sorry. So research shows that prior knowledge impacts student reading comprehension. Students can't understand a passage that they have no contextual knowledge around. And research studies have shown that on grade level readers and below grade level readers show higher levels of reading comprehension when they read texts about topics that they have prior knowledge of. Furthermore, below grade level readers with background knowledge outperform on grade level readers who don't have background knowledge. So there are a lot of benefits to using the article a day routine along with the decodables. So I'm going to go over the steps in the article a day routine just in case anyone missed the webinar on Tuesday. Step 1, you set the purpose for reading. Second, students read or listen to an article from a set of topically connected articles. Third, students write or draw their book of knowledge entries. Their book of knowledge is where they capture some important details that they learned after reading the article. And then finally, you can have students share that knowledge out loud, whether it's a turn and talk or a quick class discussion. Now let's take a look at the impact of article a day. Students showed a 4.7 point or 15% year-over-year gain in ELA test scores across 9 pilot schools. Students increased the length of their book of knowledge entries and their use of Tier 2 and 3 vocabulary in a North Carolina pilot study. And in just 10 minutes a day, third graders read an additional 49,500 words in a school year. Michelle shared with us, my fourth graders have gained so much background knowledge about a wide variety of topics using article a day. And Ramona said, students were more engaged and motivated to read due to the high interest articles. I began to see excitement about reading. So now that I've told you about article a day and the article a day routine, I'm going to focus on the recommended use of decodables. And here's how the article a day routine differs for K and 1. First, students are going to listen to the article a day passage. The articles are written at listening comprehension levels for K and 1, so they are not expected to read the passages on their own. You should read it to them, or if you're using the digital classroom, have them listen to the audio version. Second grade article a day passages are written at reading level versus listening level, so you can choose to have your second graders listen or read on their own. You can read aloud and they follow along while it's projected on the screen, or they hold a copy in their hands, or you include that audio option in the digital classroom. Then students take breaks to turn and talk. After they've practiced verbalizing what they've learned, they should write or draw what they learned in their book of knowledge. This can be a composition book. It can be a little Post-it. There's a lot of flexibility if you're not using a computer. And then finally, students practice reading on their own. And this could be right after with the whole group, later on in the day during small groups or guided reading. These texts are topically aligned to the article a day set, so they're going to already have an entry point into the topic of the decodable because they've already been exposed to it. I'm going to show you a slide with a lot of information, and I just want to remind you again that you can access a copy of the slides that I'm using by clicking on the green resources button on the bottom. So we've made it easy for you to use decodables in your classroom by providing a sample lesson plan here. So throughout the week, there's 6 articles in each article a day set, which is more than enough. And you can just start off the week focusing on that article a day routine and then slowly introduce the decodable by the 3rd or 4th day, depending on how many decodables are in the set. We conducted a pilot in spring of 2023 and 2024. I'll show you Some of the responses from the pilot from 2023, 7 out of 10 responses state that content knowledge gained in the article a day routine made students more engaged while reading decodable texts. And 9 out of 10 responses stated that the content knowledge gained in the article a day routine made students more successful while reading the decodable. In the spring 2024 pilot, we've got some more information to share with you. Students increased an average of 37% on their pseudo-nonsense word fluency. This growth exceeded the students' expected growth goals. Students increased in their comprehension of decodables, as shown in teacher observation of their responses during small group discussions. Student confidence also increased. Teachers reported an increased understanding of how to build early readers' background knowledge while supporting their word recognition skills, as well as the value of doing so. I'm going to shift gears now and do a quick demo on the website. So if you are new to ReadWorks and you don't have an account yet, you can sign up for your free account by clicking on the blue button here. It takes less than a minute. And I'll really quickly point out that the teacher guide is located on the top between donate and alignments. It's a really great resource, even if you're not new to ReadWorks and you're just, used to going to the content page and finding what you need. There's so much value in just taking time to explore the teacher guide, and you can get more information about decodables by clicking on the icon at the teacher guide. Okay, now I'm going to walk you through how to locate the decodables. There's multiple ways. You can actually select decodables in the filter. So for those of you who have used our decodables before, this is a new update on the site. We want to make it even easier for you to locate the decodables. When you do that, that will generate all of the decodables for K-2, all the article a day sets that have decodables. You can further filter by selecting a grade level for K-2, and then you can access them that way. You'll notice next to the decodables icon, we include the letter sound foci. So if you are looking for a specific skill, a specific concept, you can use the filter to help you locate them that way. Decodables are also available through the article a day scope and sequence. As I mentioned before, they're available for K-2, so you can select your grade level. And for first grade and second grade, the decodables are going to pop up in October of that scope and sequence. And in kindergarten, you'll see them pop up in December. So I'm going to head over to this set right here. So we have the article a day set about space and 2 related decodables. You can print them. I know many folks like to print, especially if you're having your students read the decodables. It's really great to have them, have a copy in their hands. And you can be sure to include the decodables. And when you click on print, that's going to generate a printable PDF. So now students have access to the full article a day set. And then when you scroll down, the decodables are included. If you choose to use the digital classroom, you can assign the article a day set with the decodables. Again, to support those K-1 readers or just early readers, below grade level readers, pre-fluent readers, select audio. That way they can listen to the article a day set. This won't impact the decodable itself. They're still expected to read the decodable on their own, so there won't be an audio option for that. And make sure you select decodables. You can also have students choose any article in the set, or if you prefer to have them read the same article, you can make that selection. And then you can go ahead and assign. If you really want to make a commitment to using the article a day routine, another idea that I would suggest is assigning right from the scope and sequence page. So what I mean by that is if you click assign on this page, you'll be able to assign the full month's worth of decodables of article a day, and you can include decodables. So if you were really aiming to use it with fidelity, I would recommend assigning that way as well. I'm going to log out of my teacher account, but log in as a student, just so you can see what it looks like when you assign the article a day set with decodables to your students. They can open up the article a day set, and there's 2 tabs, articles and decodables. And remember, by selecting audio, that means that they can listen to it. We really recommend you do that, especially for kindergarten and first grade. And students can also click on the decodable. And even though we selected audio, you won't see an audio option on the screen because the students are expected to read this independently. And when they finish, they click on the I'm done reading button. Okay, I'm gonna log back into my teacher account, and that brings us to the end of our session. 30 minutes goes by very quickly. I want to make sure that if anyone has questions, I can answer them while we're here. Okay. My email address is on the screen. If you have a question about the decodables or just a question connected to the Science of Reading series, please feel free to reach out to Mika at readworks.org. Something else to point out, I send out the email within 10 minutes of these webinars. So if you go to your email and you don't see anything by tomorrow morning, please check your spam folder. Sometimes emails from Crowdcast will go straight to spam. But in that email, you will be able to access your PD certificate, the recording for this webinar, and the resources that are available at the bottom of the screen. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This concludes the Science of Reading Beyond Phonics webinar series. Head on over to readworks.org/webinars to register. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me today.